Look out, Middle Tennessee. Benny is on the beat. Here comes your host, Benny Pulley, going in depth with singer-songwriters and musicians from across Music City and beyond, with live performances straight from historic WLIJ Studio B right here in Shelbyville. Benny on the Beat on WLIJ is sponsored by Black and Blue Sports. Now, let's see what we've got here. Here's Benny Pulley.
All right, this is Benny Pulley, behalf of Hopkins Farm Broadcasting. Benny on the Beat. I've got Chase Clanton co-hosting with me today, and we have the privilege of speaking with one of my friends. I met him years ago with a gentleman called Brad Hopkins. We met, and I went to Bell Buckle, I believe, and he performed, and what a great artist he was. And his name's Randy C. Moore. Randy, good to have you on the show today.
Good to be here, Benny. How you doing, Chase?
Hey, man, doing great. What about you? Well, folks, Randy Seymour is our musical guest, on Benny on the Beat this morning. Randy is a fantastic country musician. We play his songs regularly here on WLIJ, and I'll have to admit, Randy, take this as a compliment. I'm just going to kind of preamble with that. Sometimes your song will come on, and I'm like, is that Johnny Cash? And it's Randy.
That's all good. Yeah. I love Johnny Cash, and he's definitely an influence, so yeah.
You know, we a lot of people that I run into a lot of times, they say they listen to our station mainly because of the older country. And I don't know about you, but I know a lot of your country songs that you play are back to the original style of old country music. A lot of it's gotten to where it's just a big rock and roll, you know.
Now let's send it back to Studio B.
This is Benny Pulley, behalf of Hopkins Farm Broadcasting. Welcome back to the Benny and the Beat. Got Chase Clanton here. We got Randy Moore from Texas on the line with us. And Randy, we were going to talk about your new song that's been released. It's not a new song, but it's been released, and you've done it and done a YouTube video.
Done a great job.
And the video is awesome.
So I had a version that I had recorded in 2003 down in Memphis at Sun Studio. I went down there for my birthday to give myself a birthday present, which is really fun. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
If you guys ever get a chance to go down there and record after hours in Sun Studio, take your shot, because it is really, really something. It's really cool to do that.
Yeah, primarily like a tourist spot now, but they still use it as a recording studio, and that's a really interesting place because it's just like, isn't it just like a room and you got like tile walls and stuff, and it produced such a wonderful sound.
Yeah, I mean, it's got the sound, and it's obviously got the vibes and the spirit all in it. If you believe in spirituality, then you're going to feel something really strong when you're in that room. So yeah, I mean, it's really, really, really something. And so the record just sounded so good that I pulled it back out a couple of years ago, and I remixed it a little bit, and I went, this thing needs to be out there. So I kind of made sure that Ronnie's record wasn't doing anything, and so I decided to put it on my Luke and Doc record. So Big Bertha. So it's a sad story, but it's true.
Well, we're going to give it a shot and give it a spin here. Brandon, will you spin that Big Bertha for us?
All right, folks. I'm going to let you have a little bit of Big Bertha, which is a sad ballad. Carl Perkins got his old golf club stolen, and he had to have a song about it. Here it is.
Here it is.
Bertha.
Well, I'm sitting here wondering, where's my long, tall baby now? Yeah, I'm sitting here wondering, where's my long, tall baby now? 'Cause somebody came and stole her and left me on the bottom side of down. I used to take her out on Saturday, and a swinging we would go. Yeah, I'd take her out on Saturday, and a swinging we would go. Now I would do most anything just to swing that gal once more. She always felt like a dream right here in my hands. Any cat who's played around with her would understand why I'm bluer than a hound dog a tree, crying, please, 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 Big Bertha, come on home to me. Well, I hope I never find him, the dude that took my gal away. Yeah, I hope I never find him, the dude that took my gal away. 'Cause if I do, I'm telling you, he'll have the devil to pay. Oh, yes, he will. She always felt like a dream right here in my hands. Any cat who played around with her would understand why I'm bluer than a hound dog, barking up a tree, crying, please, 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 Big Bertha, come on home to me. Oh, come on home to Daddy, Mama. Golf club, but she always set me free. Yeah, I know she's just a golf club, but she always set me free. So if you see my Big Bertha, head down a hit a few for me.
All right, that was Big Bertha by Randy Seymour, and we've got another one we're going to play for him, and it's I'll Save a Place off his Lukenbach album. Can you tell us a little bit about that song?
Well, this is another song that was co-written with Debbie Perkins and Carl Perkins around the same time that this was after Carl had passed away, because Debbie handed me the lyric, and she said, I want us to do this. And I said, why? She said, because Daddy loved it, but he could never get through it because he'd always start thinking about his own brother and he's crying. So he could never complete an entire take.
Oh, man, I understand.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I sat down and I worked with it, and we came up with this song called "I'll Save a Place." And the strange thing that happened in the studio that night, you won't hear it on this record because it's way down into what would be considered toward the end of the song, the end of the track, basically. A lot of times, I'll explain this real quick to people out there. A lot of times when you're recording in a studio and you know that the song is going to fade out, well, the band doesn't fade out. You just keep playing and playing and playing, and then finally you get to a point you say, okay, nobody's going to hear this part. Let's quit, So we're playing this song, right? And we get down to where it's getting into the fade, where I know it's probably not going to be heard. And all of a sudden, this big loud noise comes over the headphones. And so we all stop. Like, what was that? I asked the engineer, is there something going on with the reverb return? No, you're not plugged into that. Okay, everybody check what you... No, nothing. It was this big gong thing. It was really weird. So I told Debbie about this, Carl's daughter. She said, how did your session at Sun go? I said, well, it went great. I said, we did I'll Save a Place. I said, we did that as the last song. I said, it was around midnight. And I said, a really strange thing happened. She said, what? And I told her the story, and she said, that doesn't surprise me. I said, okay, well, why doesn't that surprise you?
Yeah, we can't figure this out.
She said, after Elvis passed away, she said that they wanted, people knew that Carl and Elvis were fairly close, and they wanted Carl to come up with a song, a tribute song about Elvis, because they were going to do this tribute show at the Pyramid. So he said, okay, so he wrote this song called The Whole World Misses You. So Carl is down in his studio making a recording of it, and they're playing it, and they're playing it, and him and his band, his boys are all playing the song, and they get down to where it would probably start to fade out, and Carl starts singing, he starts singing Dixie, I wish I was in the land of cotton.
Yeah.
All of a sudden this big loud noise comes along, and they all stop, and they try to find where the noise came from, and it was printed on the tape.
Right.
So they're standing around and they're looking at Carl, and they ask, the boys are asking Carl, so what do you think that is? And Carl says, well, I think that was Elvis saying hello.
Man, you never know, right?
Well, Debbie, what do you think that noise is on my record? She says, Randy, I think that's Carl saying happy birthday, Randy.
Isn't that cool? Wow.
That's cool, man.
Oh, and that's all on I'll Save a Place, right?
Yeah, it's not on that record because that would be Beyond the Fade. But
yeah,
I have a little video that I put up on YouTube that people can reference. It's called "The Ghost of Carl Perkins."
Wow. That's pretty neat.
That's cool that you saved that. Really
how
cool
did,
story.
for you, being the experience of going to Sun Records, where all the famous ones had got recorded, how did that feel to you? Was it sort of euphoric, or what would you say?
I would say it has a sort of for lack of a better word, a magic all of its own, simply because you're in an environment that really hasn't been changed over the years. Yeah. It's not been modernized whatsoever.
Mm-mm.
I mean, the control room is modern, but the actual recording room itself is fairly the same thing as it was probably from the day that they stopped recording in there. Now, somebody tore into it, and then they had to sort of rebuild it on the inside, but they rebuilt it to exactly what it was. So it's not too different than what it has been, really, than what it was when Sam Phillips finally opened it up and built it, to his specifications, which wasn't much.
Yeah, no, it's like I was talking about earlier. I haven't been to Sun Records, but like I said, from what I heard, it's a pretty simple setup. It's not like they engineered that to the 9th degree, to the nth degree.
There's still places, like, for instance, they'll show you a place in the floor where Bill Black's bass would always be set up.
Mm-hmm.
The little thing that holds the upright bass basically wore a little hole in the floor there, in the tile.
Yeah.
So, in linoleum tile. So anyway, it's just stuff like that.
Now, on this I'll Save a Place, I know it was on Lukenbach album, but when did you release that Lukenbach album?
I think that was early 2003. I think it was like January of 2003.
2003.
All of that came out.
All right. So, Brandon, if you can key up I'll Save a Place.
I'm sorry, 2023.
2023, okay.
Oh, that just 2 years ago.
Yeah, well, that's good.
My zeros messed up.
That's all right. Well, he's going to go ahead and key us up I'll Save a Place. So we'll go ahead and play it.
Slow down, Tommy, please wait up. I can't run like you. It's 8 o'clock, we missed the bus to take us off to school. I hear it stopping down the road, so you go on ahead, looking back and through a smile. My brother Tommy said, I'll save a place for you right next to me. Don't worry, no one else will take your seat. I'll tell the man, don't close the door. You won't have to run no more, just like you know I always do. I'll save a place for you. Tommy ran the hardware store after Daddy passed away. I played football on scholarship down at Memphis State. One Saturday in late October, I ran the winning score. After the game, coach said, son, you better hurry home. The room was dark when I came in. Tommy lay there all alone. The brother I had looked up to was barely hanging on. He squeezed my hand and whispered, I'm going on ahead. And looking up through heaven's door, my brother Tommy said, I'll save a place for you right next to me. Don't worry, no one else will take your seat. Well, I'll tell the man, don't close the door, and you won't have to run no more, just like you know I always do. I'll save a place for you. You know I'll save a place for you.
Vinny Pulley, behalf of Hopkins Bar and Broadcasting, here with Randy Seymour, Chase Clanton, and we're talking about some of the records that Randy has been. And that last one you heard, I'll Save a Place, that's off his Lukenbach album, and a great song, and gave us the good story about Sun Records. Man, that, to me, that would be awesome.
Yeah, and Carl Perkins possibly saying hello at the end of that that take, of course, before the fade out happens, or after the fade out happens.
And
but
you said you can catch that on YouTube, you said?
Yeah, it's a YouTube video. You can look up me, Randy C. Moore, on YouTube. The Ghost of Carl Perkins.
Ghost of Carl Perkins. Really cool. All right, sounds good.
Yeah, that's worthy of watching before bed tonight. You know, everybody's got to have a little YouTube deep dive before they go to sleep. At least in my age bracket.
Yeah. So we've got another song we're going to play here in just a minute. It's called A Mother's Prayer. Can you give us a little information on that song and where you came up with it? Did you write it, or did you have help of somebody writing it?
Well, A Mother's Prayer is a song that I had. The idea came from my mom. She had told me about this book that she was reading about angels, and she told me, she said that angels, she said, Randy, she said, there's this chapter in there that angels are the ones who make sure that all the prayers that we pray make it to the Almighty and His requests. And she said, do you know the ones that get the highest priority are a mother's prayer for her child? I said, no, I didn't know that. I said, but, you know, that's good to know. I was thinking, okay, just keep talking, Mama. It's all good.
Yeah, just keep on.
It kind of stuck with me. So I was living in Nashville. If you're a songwriter and you're signed to a publishing deal or any of that kind of stuff, or even if you're not, you make appointments to write songs with other songwriters. This has always been an odd thing for me. It's like, okay, we're going to plan on doing something brilliant.
Yeah, I get it.
Go up, and the guy that I'm writing a song with that day is a guy named Keith Wright. He's the lead singer for a group called Ricochet. Sweetheart of a guy. You know, what an amazing guitar player and singer this guy is. I mean, he just he runs circles around so many people you would just not believe it. So, and on top of that, he's just a good old cowboy, Oklahoma. So anyway, we're sitting down, and I throw this idea at him. He really likes it. So we start working on it, and he looks at me and he says, hey, can we make this song about a woman who's giving up her child for adoption? I said, well, yeah. So we went in this direction, and I said, when we got done with it, it actually turned out really good. I said, well, how did you come up with that idea? He said, well, I'm adopted. And he said, I just found my birth mother, and he said, I want to sing a song for her. And he said, I'm going to sing this for her on Mother's Day. And I thought, well, if this song never goes anywhere except there, then it was worth us sitting down and doing this, because I know my mom loved that idea. She loved it when I told her that. So I recorded the song a couple of times, but I never really put it out like I did on this Lukenbach record back in 2023. And when I put it out, I got a hold of Heath again, and I told him what I was doing, and he said, well, this is really odd that you'd be doing this now. And I said, why? He said, I just sang this song for my birth mother again. I said, you did? He said, yeah, I sang it for her memorial service a couple of weeks ago. And I went, wow. I said, well, timing has a lot to do with everything that's supposed to work. So I said, yeah. So this song, A Mother's Prayer, has it's got some blessings on it, I'd have to say that. So.
Yeah, what a wonderful story.
Yeah.
Let's hear it now, Benny.
All right, go ahead and introduce it there, Randy.
Well, here's a song I wrote with a guy named Heath Wright, great guy and lead singer of Ricochet, and this is my version of a song called A Mother's Prayer.
They laid the baby in her arms. She watched her newborn son sleeping. She closed her eyes to say a prayer, asking the Lord for his safekeeping. You know his life has just begun, and sometimes it won't treat him fair. So be with him when I can't. All I can give my little man, here's a mother's prayer. A mother's prayer can move a mountain. A mother's prayer is pure as gold, and the angels in heaven make sure she gets heard up there. 'Cause there's nothing that's more precious to God's ear than a mother's prayer. She tries her best to explain as she holds his little hand, saying you're meant for better things. My hope is you will understand. Now all the papers have been signed, and your new home's waiting there. And one day they'll tell you soon how you were the answer to another mother's prayer. A mother's prayer can move a mountain. A mother's prayer is pure as gold, and the angels in heaven make sure she gets heard up there. 'Cause there's nothing that's more precious to God's ear than a mother's prayer. It moves the mountains. A mother's prayer, it's pure as gold, and the angels in heaven make sure she gets heard up there. 'Cause there's nothing that's more precious to God's ear than a mother's prayer. Nothing that's more precious to God's ear.
All right, this is Benny Pulley, behalf of Hopkins Spartan Broadcasting. I'm here with Chase Clanton. We're interviewing Mr. Randy Seymour out of Texas, singer-songwriter. And I know Chase, being a musician, he's always got questions to ask musical guests because he's been doing it for a while, too. So go ahead, Chase.
Shoot, come to think of it, I've been playing music for years. So anyways, Randy, what is your songwriting process? And I'll preface that by saying I know it's different every time, but what seems to be a theme there?
I don't, as of late, the last few years here, it's gotten a lot easier to actually write songs, simply because I'm in I'm in a place here that I can get up in the morning and have a cup of coffee. It's real quiet. I live in a small town. You know, usually on Sunday morning, all you're going to hear is the sound of a train going across the railroad track close to downtown Lufkin. So there's an atmosphere here that kind of lends itself to me sitting quietly with my guitar and ideas just kind of like drifting into my head. So usually those things come with some words and sort of a rhythmic cadence to them as well. So I just kind of let things happen. In the past, it was always seeing a phrase or something like any other songwriter. You see something that catches your eye, and you want to improvise on that idea. And usually when you're improvising on the idea, then you already kind of have an idea of musically or melodically where it's going to go. But that's not the way it is now for me. The way it is for me now is it feels more like a more natural kind of a process of just kind of like, I tell people I create a lot of stuff out of sheer boredom. And seriously,
honestly,
that's one of the best things. That's one of the best things for somebody who creates songs. Now, sometimes you can do stuff under pressure and it ends up being pretty good, but most of the time you don't enjoy the process, so you don't even want to go back there. But if you do it out of boredom or out of basically your mind drifting, like if you're out on your riding lawnmower or if you're driving on a long trip, stuff like that. So that's where a lot of the ideas come from. They don't really come from doing anything on purpose anymore. I guess when I started out, I was doing it on purpose, but that sort of begins the practice of developing your craft, which your craft is basically taking something that you feel like has got something to it and molding it and shaping it into something that you feel like is a musical way of saying it. And really the bottom line for anything that I want to do and I endeavor upon is look for something different. I'm always looking for. There's a lot of stuff out there. My gosh, if you had to basically have somebody who was going after plagiarism, all you got to do is throw a rock, for any sort of infringement. It's all there. So nobody even bothers anymore half the time because everything's been invented so darn many times. Nobody can remember who actually started it out to begin.
That's a good point. I've been in some songwriting sessions before where I was like, I was like 17, so I was really worried about everything, and I was like, well, does this lick sound a little bit too similar to this one unreleased song? And the guy just looked at me and was like, don't worry about it. And that went a long way because that, sometimes few words say a lot. And I was like, man, just it's like you said, everything's been played before. Not that every song ever has been written. We know that. But, I mean, how many combinations can you do of, these 7 notes before we're just kind of redoing the same thing, Yeah.
Well, and really, that's another thing you just don't even think about when you're doing this. All you're really thinking about is just kind of letting it go and letting it flow and see where it goes. I mean, believe me, there's a whole lot of paper that's been thrown into the trash bins, way more than there has been finished songs written. So it's no crime to not make it there, but it is a crime to not just at least hold on to little parts and pieces of ideas, because I've got songs that I've done in the last few years that started, I don't know, 20 years ago, 30 years ago.
Sure.
And all of a sudden the light went on over my head and I went, okay, so that's where that needs to go. And then it was easy, you know. So, and you never worry. Really, I tell people this all the time. This goes for everything, Benny and Chase and anyone out there. Worry never paved a road. Worry never put a roof on a house. Worry never gave you a Christmas present. Why worry about worry? So just don't do it.
Now that sounds like a song right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you can do it, don't do it.
Yeah.
Do anything you can, but worry. Whatever it takes to not worry about something, do that.
Yeah, I know what you mean. But we're going to take a 30-second break, and then we're going to come back and we're going to talk about a song he wrote called Before Elvis. So here
Bring
you go,
your
Randy,
printing or embroidery vision to life today with Black and Blue Sports of Shelbyville. Proudly serving your community since 2003, Black and Blue Sports offers embroidery, printing, digital media, and ad specialty products. Choose someone who strives to provide you with the newest trends and exceptional quality with no minimums. Black and Blue Sports on 114 East Highland Avenue in Shelbyville. 931-680-9898 and online at blackandbluesports.com.
Hello, Trouble. And he's got a friend. It's Benny on the Beat on 98.7 and AM 1580 WLIJ. Sponsored by Black and Blue Sports. Now let's send it back to Studio B.
All right, this is Benny Pulley, behalf of Hopkins Farm Broadcasting. I'm here with Chase Clanton. We're interviewing Randy Seymour out of Texas about one of his Lukenbach album that he's got out. And the next song I had on the list was Before Elvis. And, of course, I'm a big Elvis fan, and I know Chase is too. But
well, and I'm sure Randy is with the background at Sun Records there.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about Before Elvis.
Well, I have an uncle who passed away not too long ago. He lives out in California, and he was my mom's little brother. My mom moved to Memphis and started working for a company called National Life and Accident Insurance. And her parents were divorced, so her little brother and her mom moved in with her in Memphis. Well, Uncle Gene, her brother, was going to high school. There was a girl that he liked that was going to another high school, so he just quit going to his and started going to hers.
That's one way to do it.
Yeah, the school that she happened to be going to was a school called L.C. Humes High School, and this was around 1952, 1953. So he got to see a kid named Elvis Presley who was a student there, and he told me about this years later, and then I said, well, Uncle Gene, what took you so long to tell me this? You know how much I like Elvis.
Yeah.
Well, he said, I wanted to come up with a good line for a song, because Uncle Gene was a little songwriter and singer himself. I said, well, what's the line? He said, before Elvis was a king, he was just a high school teen. I said, well, hey, that's good. I said, I think we can do something with that. So we made up this song, and God bless Uncle Gene and the true story of him basically meeting Elvis before the world knew Elvis. So that's what this song is, Before Elvis.
All right. Well, we're going to play Before Elvis.
Let me tell you all a story about my Uncle Gene. See, Uncle Gene was just 16 in 1953. He was a junior at Humes High School in Memphis, Tennessee, when he met this kid in English class who changed all history. So come on, my friends, I'll take you back again in my rock and roll time machine. It was Friday night in Memphis, 1953. I was bumming smokes and spiking cokes, bopping at the teen canteen. He came strolling in the front door, wearing pink on black, with hair shined up and slickered out like a brand new Cadillac. His mama named him Elvis, and he was a shy and skinny cat. He was gonna be the king someday, but he hadn't done it yet. Before Elvis was the king, he was just a high school teen. Before that's all right and go, cat, go. He was just a kid in funny looking clothes. You wouldn't have believed it if you could have seen before Elvis was the king. Look out now, I'm gonna tell you a little bit more. Here we go. We'd always call him Sissy Boy, but the girls are fascinated by the way he raised his upper lip. Somehow it drove him crazy. He had an old beat-up 6-string guitar with a rocking little sound. And when he played our high school talent show, he tore the whole house down. Nobody ever saw it come, least of all was me, till I saw him shake and rattle the world on national TV. Before Elvis was the king, he was just a high school teen. Before he ever made his story, it was metal shop Well, Gene told it to me, and that's all right.
All right, we're back with Randy Moore, Chase Clanton, and me. We're talking to him about some of the records he wrote and all, and we got one coming up. I won't try to get them all on before we get off the show. Luckenbach, which is one of the title track for the album we got. And tell us a little bit about Luckenbach and how that came about.
I was doing a show down in San Antonio years ago, and the gal that I'm married to, she was down there with me, and we had a few days off, and so I said, hey, you want to drive out to Luckenbach, Texas? She says, is that a real place? I said, yes. She said, yeah. I thought it was just a song. I said, no, it's a real place.
No, it's a real place.
Great time. Of course, Luckenbach is a place for people to go that are working too damn hard, and there's nothing that goes on out there. It's completely the opposite of hard work. So we had a great time that day, and it always just kind of stuck with me. So I made up a song about it, and I played it for her first, and she says, well, I love it. And I said, okay, well, I'm probably going to end up recording that pretty soon one of these days, which I did. I recorded it down in Muscle Shoals, and it was co-produced with a guy by the name of Norbert Putnam, who is people in the music business would know who Norbert is. He's a pretty famous guy, a record producer and musician who played on a lot of records and made a lot of records for a lot of people. So we had fun making it, and people still had fun listening to it. Luckenbach.
Let's play it.
Let's play it.
Working the time clock, dead on our feet. Too many nights, going to bed, just going to sleep. Ending the days like they've begun, never dancing to the beat of the drum. Leaving me begging the questions I'm asking you now. Do you want to go to Luckenbach, wailing and wailing, feeling no pain? Or go walking up dry pulp road, make a little loving in the summer rain. Take another trip to Arizona, watching the sunrise over the mountaintop. When you're in love, it doesn't take a lot, like you was going back to Luckenbach. We've seen tropical beaches full of beautiful people working on tents, but people on top of other people are a traffic jam. Taking those selfies, waiting in line, telling their friends this is the life. I hope they never discover where we're going now. Do you want to go to Luckenbach, wailing and wailing, feeling no pain? Or go walking up dry fork road, make a little loving in the summer rain? Take another trip to Arizona, watching the sunrise over the mountaintop. When you're in love, it doesn't take a lot, like you was going back to Luckenbach, where the complicated tears and the fabricated fears drift away. Forget about yesterday. Come on, baby, let me take you away. Do you want to go to Luckenbach, wailing and wailing, or feeling no pain? Or go walking up dry fork road, make a little loving in the summer rain? Take another trip to Arizona, watching the sunrise over the mountaintop. When you're in love, it doesn't take a lot, like you was going back to Luckenbach. When you're in love, it doesn't take a lot, like you was going back to Luckenbach. We're going back to Luckenbach.
All right, we're back with Hopkins Farm Broadcasting. I'm here with Chase Clanton, and I'm trying to interview Mr. Randy Seymour out of Texas.
We're trying our darndest, buddy, I tell you.
He's doing such a great job, I don't have to interview him. He can tell me everything. Randy, I tell you what, it's really a pleasure having you today, and I know you've been busy doing stuff around Texas there and touring there and just going to a lot of local places. I understand you really like doing the local gigs where you can actually talk to the people and be more personal, I guess you call it.
Oh, is that true?
Yeah, it's more of a listening room type of thing around here that I get to do. So I enjoy it a lot. I played on Broadway for a few years. That was fun too. But that's pretty much like a liquor store on a conveyor belt down there.
Yeah, not so much a listening room, more of a get sloshed and party. And there's some noise in the corner. I wonder what that is. Yeah. Throw some money in the tip jar.
I get it that people want to see everything that they can see, but sometimes if your head's on too much of a swivel, you'll miss a lot of stuff. So
that's exactly right.
I like it here because people don't do that. They just come in to see me play. So.
Yeah, I know when we went to Bell Buckle to see you play that time, it was more like that to me. It was more up close and personal. Got to enjoy your music. You could actually, hear the guitar because you're so close, and so that, to me, that's more of a magical feel than the old, bunch of big crowds and you can't hear nothing.
That's exactly right.
Screaming and hollering.
Well, Randy, I've got a question for you before we wrap the show up here as it winds down. Where could people find you, like on social media or a website, and how could they find your music to listen to that?
Well, like everybody else, I'm on Facebook. I've got a Facebook page, a couple of them. One of them's called Friends of Randy C. Moore. You can usually find out where I'm playing and what the heck's going on from that one. I've got a thing called Randy C. Moore Music. You can find more about records that are getting played and what's new musically happening with what I'm writing and what I'm recording and junk like that. And then, of course, I have a website, randycmoore.com. That's R-A-N-D-Y, initial C, M-O-O-R-E, no periods, .com. And it's just, those are the only sources. I have all these other things, but I don't even use them because how many front doors do you need on one house? Not that many. So, so that's primarily where people can find stuff. And obviously if you go to the website or if you go to iTunes or if you go to Spotify, you can find a place to stream my music or actually download it to listen to it at your leisure, that kind of stuff.
That's what we want to hear. So go find Randy C. Moore's music out there wherever, you consume your music, Apple Music, stuff like that.
That's cool.
And all the songs that we've heard today are available through those methods.
Yeah. And Randy, have you got, just before we play this last song, have you got any songs in the works?
I've got quite a few things that are coming up, actually, but everybody's going to hear about them when I put them out.
yeah, that sounds good. I like that. So we got some more stuff to be looking forward to. There you go.
Yes, sir.
There you go. So give us a little idea about the song, a Jimmy Buffett song that you wrote, and tell us a little bit about that.
This song was recorded, a Jimmy Buffett song was recorded with a guy named Norbert Putnam, who produced most of Jimmy Buffett's great hits, Margaritaville, Changes in Latitude, and all those things, Cheeseburger in Paradise. Norbert was Jimmy's guy. He's the guy who sort of created the Jimmy Buffett sound.
Oh, wow.
Everybody is used to these days. So I brought this song down to Muscle Shoals where Norbert lives and actually started out. And I said, hey, man, can we do this? And he said, oh, heck yeah, I'd love to do this. He said, I know a little bit about this. I said, yeah, I figured you did. So Norbert and the bass guitar, and he co-produced this song and co-wrote it with me. So it's a Jimmy Buffett song, and it's not a tribute to Jimmy Buffett. It's a tribute to Jimmy Buffett fans who are fans of Jimmy's music.
The parrot heads out there.
There you go, the parrot heads.
Yeah.
All right, we'll play it.
Yeah.
Savings and healthy retirement plans. They worked it all out while I built my life on shifting sands. See, I've been a cowboy, and I've been a sailor, and I've been a screen acting fool. I Guess I should have stayed in school. See, I didn't think it was cool. Now it's hard to get up in the mornings after staying out most of the night. My vices and habits are just like a sailor's delight. And I'd have taken better care of myself if I was gonna be around this long. Living my life to a Jimmy Buffett song. Well, it's taken some time, but I got a good woman who truly believes the ground that I walk is holier dirt than St. Peter's grave. She says I'm the one who came along and rescued her soul from the sea. Well, that's almost funny to me, 'cause she's the one who rescues me. When it's hard to get up in the morning after staying out most of the night. My vices and habits are just like a sailor's delight. And I'd have taken better care of myself if I was gonna be around this long. Living my life to a Jimmy Buffett song. Stars left up in the sky. And if it all ended tomorrow, I've had one hell of a ride. It was hard to get up in the morning after staying out most of the night. My vices and habits are still like a sailor's delight. Taking better care of myself if I was gonna be around this long. Living my life to a Jimmy Buffett song. I'm still living my life to a Jimmy Buffett song.
I know one thing, I wouldn't have enough air to do a saxophone.
yeah, I will have to say that you did nail the Jimmy Buffett sound there. I feel like I'm at the beach.
Oh yeah, it had all the vibes to it.
Good feel.
It really did. Yeah. So
Norbert produced that one pretty much, and so he said, "I think I know a little bit about this." I said, "Okay, go for it."
yeah, it sounded like he did. Yeah, that was a good song. So have you got any gigs coming up down there in Texas? Of course, you know, we get a lot of people stream from different areas of the country.
They might come in, yeah.
You might get them to come see you. So we're out down there. Are you going to be performing here soon?
Well, usually I do a thing on the very first Saturday of the month. I do a place called Naca Valley Winery out in Nacogdoches, Texas.
Okay.
That's where you can find me regularly the first Saturday of every month. And usually the first Thursday of every month, I'm in a place called Tyler, Texas, at a place called TXM, which is, oddly enough, called Texas Music City Bar and Grill.
Yeah.
I don't know how they came up with all that. This guy that runs this really cool guy, his name is Coyote Sam. He's a first-generation Texan. As a matter of fact, his roots go all the way back to his ancestors fighting in the Battle of the Alamo.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
That's pretty cool.
That's crazy.
I'm going to be doing a thing up in Midlothian, Texas in August called the Crowman Jam. And it's a thing that happens just about every Thursday night at this place called the Oasis. I'm going to be up there on the 24th of April doing a live thing, doing my songs, and it's a live tape deal that he has on his radio show. He's a big Texas disc jockey from down in Waco, and anybody who does Texas music, if you ask them if they know who the Crow Man is, they'll answer with the one word yes.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
That's like when Wolfman Jack. Everybody, you could ask Wolfman, they knew you were Wolfman.
Yeah.
It's a one name wonder.
One name wonder.
Yeah. So, Randy, I want to thank you on behalf of Hopkins Farm Broadcasting for coming on today, and thank Jenny for hooking us up. And
yes, thank you, Jenny.
We were able to get you on the air, and we really appreciate it. We appreciate your music. Really love the music you got. Like I said, we got Lukenbach is one we got in our rotation, and it's
plays all
we
the
get
time.
People call about it every once in a while about the song because they hadn't heard it before. And so it's things like that we really love, and we're glad that you took the opportunity to come and talk with us.
Well, good, and I really appreciate y'all and your, just how you do things is just it's a little bit of the old school, a little bit of the new school.
Right.
Pretty good school to be from. So y'all just keep doing it.
And you keep writing some good songs, and I'm looking forward to the next album. I know you're going to release singles, but if you release enough singles, you can put it on an album.
That's right. Randy, thank you so much for calling today, and please stay in touch with us and send us your new music, okay?
All right. Y'all take care of yourself up there.
All right, Randy. Thank you very much. All right, this is Benny Pulley, behalf of Hopkins Farm Broadcasting. That was Randy Seymour here with Chase Clinton. We're going to call the show a done deal today, and we'll have some more coming up. We've got several lined up. I think we're booked up through April something.
Yeah.
And so we'll have several coming up.
Yeah, Benny on the Beat is every second and fourth Tuesday at 10 a.m. here on WLIJ, Shelbyville, Tennessee, and that's our legal ID at the top of the hour here at 11 o'clock. But anyways, yeah, it was fun, Benny.
It was.
Great
It
show.
was great. Thank you, Chase, for helping me. Brandon, we turn it back to you.